We good? Great. All right. So you're Jack Bauer. You're the.
Jack Bauer.
Are you cool to say you're? I'm Hunter Kozak. I'm cool to say.
I'm Jack Bauer, Vice President of Turning Point at Charleston Southern University in Charleston, South Carolina. So
cool. Yeah, we're just doing debates here. You sort of wanted to talk about what is a woman.
Sure. Yeah.
So
you mentioned it. I'm down to talk about it.
Yeah. So sometimes what I often do is I kind of flip the conversation. I think very often Turning Point or conservatives want to ask us the question, but I don't know how rigorous it is to flip the question. Like, what is a woman?
An adult female human.
And what is a female?
Somebody. I'm gonna be. I mean, this is. You're gonna hear me. A woman is. Well, a female is a human. Well, any animal, and we'll talk about humans specifically.
Okay.
Is a human with XX chromosomes.
Okay.
And female genitalia.
Okay.
Well, and I guess the word female is ambiguous for you, so I mean that's what I would assume.
No, that's okay.
Not ambiguous,
I'm
but
fine
it's
with XX chromosomes and female genitalia.
Female genitalia.
Like a vagina
yes.
Great. Cool. So, a couple other questions. Obviously, you would say a male is also XY and male and a penis, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Do you agree that there are some people who are not male or female?
I agree there can be genetic mutations. I understand that intersex people are definitely rare cases, but I think that's genetic mutations like that. I think do happen. But
totally.
So yes, I understand that there are people who do not fit the traditional understanding, at least fit literally physically.
Totally.
Of a male or female in terms of genitalia.
So I'm gonna throw out a stat, and it's gonna sound bullshit, and it's because I'm hiding a little thing. So let me clear. I'm gonna say the full thing. 2% of the 2% of human beings are intersex. I know that sounds bullshit. It's because there's a little bit hidden under there. It's like, of that 2% of those people, or like 1% of those people, are like intersex as in everyone can tell. But actually, like, most of those 2% people don't even know they're intersex. They walk around actually like able to conceive, like you would walk around and see that they're a man. In fact, unless you've had your chromosomes tested, it's actually 2% likely that you might not have XY chromosomes. There's a woman that I know, she's like a little bit of a friend of mine. She has Turner syndrome, which is essentially like,
I know what Turner syndrome is. Yeah.
She thought she was a woman her entire life, right? Until she was like 23 years old or so, and she just kept having like these issues, and she's like, I can't figure out what's going on. She was having a bunch of medical problems, like a bunch of stomach problems. She went to the doctor, she got tested, and she actually has XXY. And it's this, or I don't remember exactly, I think it was XXY. Regardless, there was a chromosomal deficiency, even though she looked like a woman. Would you tell that person you are not a woman? Even though she lived her whole life like she was. She got news when she was 23 years old. She's actually not a woman.
No, I think it all depends on the genitalia she had. So
but
obviously she wasn't confused about what she had physically. So
sure, but
there's going to be genetic deficiencies, genetic problems in terms of chromosomes, but if she still had that female genitalia, yes, she's a female.
But I think what I'm saying is, I at the beginning of the conversation, you would have to have both XX chromosomes.
Okay, then I'll change it, one or the other. Sure.
Okay, what if you...
Well, no, actually, I would probably say it's more dependent on the female part to the male parts.
What if you you blew up like a soldier, chucked a grenade, right? Blew off their entire lower half, no longer has male genitalia.
Then it would go down to the chromosomes.
Right, but I think what I'm saying is, like, you don't really have these like necessary and sufficient conditions. Like,
yeah, I do. It's female genitalia and or X. I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say and or. I'm going to say female genitalia and female chromosomes. You have very, very nuanced, and that stat isn't true, by the way, because that would mean that if I talk to 100 people, 2 of them would have a chromosome deficiency. That's just not true.
They might not know about it.
Okay, well, that's untrue, because that's just not a true statistic.
I could show
and
you
know it's not true as well, because
no.
If you talk to 1,000 people, 20 of them would not have a chromosome problem. That's untrue.
Almost all of them wouldn't know that they have it.
I would have to have you show that to me on and I would have to see multiple evidences of that, because that is an untrue fact.
Okay.
Sorry, it's not a fact. That's just untrue, and I'm going to stand by that, because there's absolutely no way that is a true statistic. And I think everyone watching can understand. Because if you're watching, I know you've talked to more than 100 people in your life, and I know that...
Hold on. 100 people know that, just to be clear about the stat, two people would have a chromosomal deficiency but don't know about it.
Okay.
That's the sticking point.
I'm gonna stand by what I said, but put all that aside. Say
Yeah.
that I'm wrong, right? And your statistic is true.
Yeah.
That woman who had a difference in chromosomes that's not like a woman or a man
Right.
traditionally, not traditionally, but normally. They are still a woman if they have female genitalia, and
Even if they didn't have XX chromosomes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what if post-op trans women, they do not have XX chromosomes, but they do have female genitalia?
No, they don't. They have. I mean, I know you know how that's done. They invert the penis and they make it go back up into it and they flip it around. That is not a vagina.
Okay, but like, I think you're using pretty like.
Those aren't female parts. Those are literally manufactured. Those are created by a doctor. Those are crafted.
Couldn't I say that a circumcised penis is also crafted by medical?
It doesn't make it not a penis.
Sure, but like I don't know what your definition is here. I'm trying to figure out what specifically like how you're determining these things, and I don't. It feels a little ambiguous here. It feels a little nebulous.
Well, because I mean, it's.
All I'm trying to point out is, hold on, just before I want to say one quick thing. I agree with you. This is nebulous, and that's my claim.
Sorry, what do you mean by nebulous?
It's kind of hard to distinguish what specific. Like,
it's not. It was not hard to distinguish. Is the thing.
Wait, 99% of people, you can go, that's a man, that's a woman.
Yeah.
Right? There is weird edge cases.
Yes.
I would say there's weird edge cases too.
Yes.
I would say, for example, someone a post-op trans woman, who you look at and you would say that's a woman. Everyone would look at it and say that's a woman, but was born a man, that's an edge case. And I think if you're allowed an edge case, I don't know why I'm not allowed an edge case. Does that make sense?
I think we have the same edge case.
But like, you wouldn't say that person's a woman.
I would say that person's a woman. I've already said that. I would say that person's. Wait, sorry. Which person are we talking about?
Post-op trans woman.
Oh no, that's not a woman.
Right.
Because they changed it. That's not how. That's not.
But couldn't I say, well, Turner syndrome, that's different because that's not in the chromosomes. It's a different chromosome.
Different. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So
you know what I'm saying? Like,
fine. Well, here's the deal. We have man and we have female, and then we have weird edge cases.
Right.
What's the point of making that argument? What's the point of arguing for that?
All I'm pointing out is that there are weird edge cases.
Okay.
And oftentimes we try to say that like man and woman, it's clear and it's distinct between these two cases. And I'm like, there is a blurry middle between these. Now I agree.
There's no middle. There is man and woman, and then there's weird edge case. There's no middle.
Okay,
the binary is man
and then
and
it's
woman.
over there.
The binary is man and woman, and then you have edge case. And what I would guess is you feel like we should legislate. You feel like we should make policy that has to do with that stuff. No, we don't. That's such a nuanced and little specific thing that like there's no reason. I mean, sure, yes, those people should get the medical help they need. Those people should if they need medical help, they should get that. If they're confused or something, if they have an actual chromosomal disorder or medical problem, they should get medical attention and have help for that. But why do we need to talk about it? What's the point of that? Why do we need to go up to people and say you're a bigot for saying there's only men and women when that's the truth? Why can't we just all agree that yes, there's going to be some medical nuanced cases where someone is messed up? Why do we have to push in schools the fact that you can be whatever you want to be and there's not a binary when there actually is? Why do we have to legislate based off the fact that you understand what I'm saying?
I kind of understand what you're saying.
Why do we have to push that on people? This false narrative.
Could I flip it a little bit?
Sure, go ahead.
Because I do find it kind of interesting that I totally hear what you're saying. Why are we pushing this? Why are we legislating this? I would flip it and say, it is weird that we're legislating who can go into whose bathroom. And if you are of the wrong thing, why not just make them a little bit unisex, and then we don't have to leave it up to policy.
If you make it unisex, then if I'm a woman, if I'm a young lady, and there's a man, a grown man, going into the bathroom where I'm exposing myself to use the bathroom if I was a little girl, no, I would much rather those, just being honest, I would much rather those intersex people not have a place to use the bathroom comfortably than have a little girl being at risk of having a grown man come in and do things to her that she can't defend herself for. I would much rather those people suffer, that small little bit, tiny little piece of the population suffer than 50% of the world suffer. And I don't even think those two, that little group of nuanced people would suffer. That just, it's up to them to, like, I don't even think that's an issue. Intersex people have been around since the dawn of time.
No, but
that kind of thing has been around
my point.
forever, and this has never, the problem of where can I use the bathroom has never been a problem until less than 10 years ago. What's, you know what I mean?
Can I flip it a little bit? I totally agree that we've been able to figure this out socially since the dawn of time. You go into the bathroom that you basically look like. And I'm going to say look like because that's how we do it socially.
Yeah.
If someone walks into the bathroom...
It's not about, what you look like...
No, because I don't know what you were born as.
What you look like is going to determine, obviously, what you are. So yes, a man looks different than a woman, but a man is physically stronger. It can overpower a woman, obviously.
Okay.
Just because they look different doesn't mean... Of course, if someone looks different, you're going to treat them differently.
Right.
If someone looks different, they should have different places to go in terms of sex. Does that make sense? I'm not talking about race or anything.
All I'm trying to point out is that we have figured this out socially, wherein you go into the bathroom that you look like, and like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, go continue.
No, yeah, you're fine. Okay. You fully agree that you're not checking the genitals of women that go into the bathroom, right? You go off of perception. You look at them and you go, yeah, they're fine to go in there, right? And if you're big and gruff, you're like, get the hell out of there, right? But you also agree there are tons of trans women that look like women to you who would go into the bathroom and you'd go, yeah, sure, that looks totally fine. I don't know any different.
Okay.
I don't know what they're born like.
Okay.
So we have this whole thing figured out until we're like, actually, we have to start legislating this. I have a professor at my college who's trans. And Utah, I go to school in Utah. Utah passed this bill that said that if you are trans and found in the wrong bathroom, you'll be penalized. It's basically against the law. I forgot what the penalty is. She looks like a woman. She's transitioned for 30 years, and like she has gone into the bathroom no problem. It's not this big gruff.
Well, let me respond to that. So
yeah.
So whenever you say, the definition of a trans person, and this is the truth, the definition of a trans person, I don't believe transgender people are real. I don't think that you can transition to a different gender. So the definition of a transgender person is somebody who thinks they are a different sex, right? So whenever you say trans people, because it's what you're saying, is trans people should be able to use the bathroom with which they identify. You are literally saying, if a big muscular man said, I am now a woman, that means he's allowed to go into the young lady's bathroom and see that young lady exposed.
It's a great question. I'm not saying that.
No, you are, because you said we shouldn't, we can't do it based off of how people look. We have to do it based off of or maybe you are saying we should do it how people look.
I am.
But there's not going to be a bathroom sign that says for small, frail people, because that's what women
No,
are.
but that's what it is.
There's not going to be a bathroom sign that says for large, muscular humans, because that's not how that works.
I'm saying we naturally sort people into two different categories.
Okay.
Gender, right? Men and women. We do that without understanding how they were born or what genitalia. We aren't peeking behind the curtains.
No, we do that based off of biology. We don't do it based off of guessing.
No.
Yes, we do.
Because if I look at someone, for example, do you know if I'm a trans man?
You're a man. You're not a trans man. You're a man.
You don't. You know that for sure?
Yes.
Okay. And if I show you pictures of specific people, you will get it 100% of the time?
No, probably not.
Okay, cool. So you agree that sometimes you sort people and you get it wrong?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. All I'm trying to point out is you use it based off of social factors, the way they look, the way they move, the way they organize. You're not peeking, you're not checking below their pants to see how they were born. And even if you did, again, post-op exists. Like you're not checking their birth certificate, is all I'm saying. We have organized our society for the last 2,000 years in this way, where we just sort of look at people and we go, okay, well, you go in the women's bathroom, you go in the men's bathroom. I'm not too sure, you go wherever you want, right? Is that a little fair to say? The intersex people, right? People who you would look at and you go,
I mean, I don't really know. I have no idea how
you ever look at the men's bathroom and you're like, you squint at someone, you're like, maybe, I don't know. I'm just going to keep washing my hands and move out. You know what I'm saying?
I have.
Right, totally happens. We should just keep doing that.
No.
Why?
Because that's allowing transgender people, if you allow them to go in that women's bathroom, you are literally allowing every other man ever to go in that.
I'm not. No.
Yes, you are.
Just people who are perceived that way.
Just people who are looked at and seen as a small, frail person.
Essentially.
I'm saying small and frail as in
but you're putting
women,
right.
I'm generalizing.
Who look womanly. Yeah.
So you think we should? How do you enforce the law?
In the same way that we have always enforced the law about this, which if there's a disturbance, we call the police, but otherwise we just sort of socially take care of it. First off,
because that's so ambiguous. That's so ambiguous.
Could I say something real quick?
That's all about perception. That's all about subjectivity.
It is.
That's all about subjectivity. If you're doing it based off of binary sex, then therefore there is no subjectivity.
No,
and then you can maybe have those little nuanced cases where.
But if I'm putting out your system as nuanced cases and my system as nuanced cases.
Yours is unenforceable.
But
it's unenforceable.
But wait, hold on. What specifically should we be enforcing? Because
whether or not they are
no.
A woman, you should go to the women's bathroom.
Hold on,
because
because
men, you should go to the men's
you
bathroom.
pointed
I don't see how that's something that can be contested. How is that something that can be confusing to you?
Okay, well, I think I've been trying to be clear about what specifically I mean when I say man and woman. So, first off, if there's an assault that happens in a bathroom, which by the way, statistically is more likely to happen to a trans person than against a trans person, or perpetrated by a trans person.
Okay.
So I just want to throw that out there. I'm not saying that what you're saying doesn't exist. I'm just saying.
Sure, people beat up trans people. I understand that.
And assault them.
Yeah, sure. That happens to everybody. Yeah.
But more. Okay, whatever. Regardless. Sorry. Socially, we're organizing people, and we've always organized these people. You're saying we have to legislate it, but at the beginning, you're like, why are we legislating this? I'm agreeing.
No. I said, why are you going to legislate based off of the nuanced cases of there being like a very small percentage of people who are intersex who don't, I guess, align with the.
I'm not for legislating at all. I think it's better to just I think society is capable of handling it. And what we've been doing for the last 2,000 years.
Obviously, they're not because.
Why?
Because have you not seen recently? Like, okay, so if you were to go 15 years ago, yeah, sure, you heard of men going into women's bathrooms and assaulting women, but like now that is such. You hear about that on the news all the time. You hear about those cases all the time. You hear about men going into women's volleyball games and smacking the ball so hard on them that they literally get brain damage.
Yeah.
And they break their noses.
Yeah.
This is dangerous for young women. This is dangerous for women.
Well,
this is not you. You're saying why can't we just do that? That's the reason. Because if we just do that, then young women are going to start dying more. Young women are going to start getting assaulted in bathrooms more, which they have. We've seen that. That's the evidence. Before all of this transgender crap, women didn't. I mean, yeah, that's something they had to deal with, but like we weren't allowing it to happen in bathrooms. Like that's not something that happened. It was such small cases, or at least smaller than they were now, and that's just like. You're right. Let's do it the way we did it for 2,000 years. Let's do it the way that we have done it until now. Not allow men into women's bathrooms and not allow women into men's bathrooms. But I don't see why this even has to be a conversation.
One, it's never been legislated. Like it's never been legislated until recently, right? No one's ever passed a law specifically about who can go into whose bathroom.
Okay.
Right. And the second thing is, sorry. I do want to challenge something that you were saying before, which is like you're seeing this more and more and more and more, right? That like it's becoming an issue, and I'm not trying to challenge you. It's a genuine question. Like, do you worry, or do you ever feel like that might be your media diet, feeding things that are aggravating to you?
I believe the legacy media is biased, and if I'm gonna, yeah.
But not even legacy media. Whatever your media diet is, I don't know who you watch.
Okay,
But like. I've seen. I mean, I don't know if you like Andy No or something like that. Like a lot of big, like Twitter conservative activists. They just push those videos over and over and over again. And because everyone has a cell phone right now, you can get any sort of narrative that you could possibly want. And I'm wondering, like, is that really statistically based? Are we like looking at the ways that society has actually changed using stats and facts, or are we pushing videos and we all, and I'm victim of this too. I'm not like, of course.
I think it's unavoidable, yeah.
Sure.
You get fed what you like.
But I do think we should look at the fact that like it's really possible that this isn't like you've seen one video like that happens once every like few months, and you're like, shit, dude, this is such a huge problem. I just saw this last month. But this is a country of 300 million people. You know, like I could find a video, and I know I find videos of this, of like, you know, the left-wing activists push shit about like ICE beating up a random woman every like 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like I could find any specific video that can suit my narrative, but unless we really look at like the way that stats have really like shifted into the country, I don't know if this like video or just like, oh, we're looking at these crazy examples. Those crazy examples are horrific, and I think those shouldn't happen. But I don't know how helpful it is to like legislate over these minute cases when that might not be what's largely happening.
Well, what's the question? Like, what's the challenge here? You're asking, like, do you think it's just my media diet that's feeding me these?
Yeah, is it possible that trans people are actually like? Here's the thing. I have some trans friends. I have a trans professor right now. I see them. When they first start transitioning, they're terrified to go to the bathroom because they do not want someone to be looking at them and squinting at them. So they make sure that they're transitioning socially and they're passing consistently.
Well, I would just say, like, if you're scared about going to the wrong bathroom, go to the right bathroom. I just don't see why that's a problem.
You can understand that there's probably cis women out there who are likely scared of the same thing, right?
What? Going to the women's
being
bathroom?
being perceived incorrectly.
That's unfortunate, but go to the women's bathroom.
Sure. But all I'm saying is, like, it's causing a lot of contention where we're constantly glaring at each other, and we don't know what's on their birth certificate. We don't know how they were born, and we're like willing to aggress on people because we feel like they're a predator, they're a possible predator. And I'm like, how could that be good? Genuinely, how could that be good for society? How could that be good for people?
We're what? I'm sorry.
We're okay. I'm not going to say you as an example, but I'll say just like people writ large. Or I'll say a random conservative. I'll pick a random conservative. He'll go into the bathroom, and she'll go into the bathroom. She'll go into the woman's bathroom, cis, conservative woman, and she'll look around. She's a woman. She'll go into the bathroom, and she'll look around, and she'll start glaring at people, and like, oh wait, hold on, is that a man? Is that a man? Is that a man? And like that constant pressure of checking consistently can't be good for society. And like, I don't know if that's the benefit.
So that's not good for society.
Right.
So the people who are transgender that tried to go from a man to a female should just go to the men's bathroom so the women don't have to worry about that.
But you're not even frustrated with trans people. You're frustrated with trans people who don't pass, who use the wrong bathroom. That's what I'm trying to point out. You're not. If someone passes, you're like, go in the fuck. Like, you won't even notice. There's probably tons of people that you've gone into the bathroom with who are transgender, and you don't even notice because they completely passed and they went undetected.
Sorry,
yeah, you're good.